Good morning, students. Today I am going to explain you the lesson number 6, which is your chapter 6 on your book, Class as the Basis of All Computations, Objects and Classes. Before starting this chapter, I just want to say you that these all topics already we have done in the first chapter also. So these are not new topics for you. Just we will revise these topics. The main thing in this chapter is we have to learn some programming concepts and also some few questions are there which is new for you. Other one, all the things which all the questions are there that are old one. So let's start from the starting, which is already you have done in the previous class. You have learned the concept of procedure programming in Java, where we put emphasis on functions. And the second concept we have done, that is object oriented programming, which will give emphasis on data. So what is the more concerned for the user is, that is data security. So because it promotes data security, we are using or give preference to the object oriented programming. So in this part, introduction part, you have to learn about what is procedure oriented programming. Procedure oriented programming, which gives stress or emphasis on the functions, whereas object oriented programming give the stress on the data. And the main purpose of this data security is that we will hide the data from the outside world. So data security is the main concept in object oriented programming. That's why we prefer object oriented programming language. Next concept is objects. Already we have done this definition so many times. What is object? Object is a unique entity which contains data and functions. So with the real world examples or with the real world objects, we can understand the object concept very clearly. So the object means real world entity in which you can store data and functions. Data and functions means in the real world which are characteristics, like characteristics of a object. TV is like company, model and size. And but for the software objects, these are data members. So in the real world, characteristics are saying, we can say that these characteristics are in the real world, we can say in the real world. And the data members, we can say these are the data members of the object TV. Similarly, when we come on the next page, we have some behavior means functions in the term of software objects. Like what is the function or behavior of the TVs? It is used to view different channels, it is used to play audio and video files, etc. In the same way, software objects, we can say software objects which are the characteristics that are known as data members, and which are the behavior that are known as the functions. Okay, now we come on the next topic, that is class. So what is a class? Class is set of similar kinds of objects. For example, you can give, if class name is car, its objects can be Maruti, Hyundai, etc. Now the next topic is object is an instance of the class. Why class is known as instance of the class? For this you can learn the definition of this one. When an object of class is created, as you know, when we are creating the object of the class, then it includes instance variable. Instance variable means the variables which are declared within the class that stores in the class. That's why it is described as the instance of the class. Or this definition exactly you can write here: when object of the class is created, it includes instance variable described within the class. This is the reason why an object is called the instance of the class. Instance means copy of the class. The simple for your understanding, I am explaining this one. When we are creating the variables in the class, that are the become the data members of the class. That's why they are presenting the class. That's why it is known as object as an instance of the class. Now you can see here, like for example, we can see how to create object of the class. So when we are creating object of the class, like for example here class name is textbook and the object is English here. So we can create the object of the class by using the new keyword, and same class name will be repeating again. So when we create the object of the class, we write like this, like first class name, like here the class name is textbook and the object name is English, and new is the keyword which allocates the space for the dynamic memory for the storage of data and functions. and textbook again we write the here class name. So here when we create the object of the class, this term is known as instantiation. So there is one more new question for you. Why, what is instantiation? So when we create the object of the class, this term is known as instantiation. It can come as an MCQ based question also, so you can learn in both ways, as a definition also, as the ways of MCQ base also. Okay, now let's see, once again revise these all topics. So from this page you have to learn the definitions of POP and the purpose of POP, which stress on the functions, and what is object oriented programming, which promote data security is more there. That's why most of the programmers prefer the which language, that is object oriented programming language. So object, what is object? A unique entity which contains data and functions in the real world, which are the data, that are the characteristics, and which are the function, that are the behavior for the object. Now let's next topic, we have already done what is class, is set of similar kinds of objects, and why object is known as instance of the class. Next question, what is instantiation? When we create the object of the class, this term is known as instantiation. What is the use of new operator? This question already we have done in so many chapters, so the same question answer you can write here. So how can create the object of the class, that you all also know. In the next page you can see some more examples. So like here, English, computer, mathematics, economics, are these are the objects, and the textbook is the class name here. Now next topic is why class is known as composite data type. So students, as you know, when we are creating the class, for example here the class name is performance, and there are the data types and variables. So here int is the data type, here double is the data type, here the variables which is of int type, that is p, c, b and some, and average is data type is double. So these all int and double is primitive data types. Which data types? Primitive data types. When we are creating the class can include primitive data types in it. Okay, as you know, class is non-primitive data type, or user defined data type, or reference data type. So when we creating the class variables here with the data type primitive data types, means when class includes various primitive data types in it, that term is known as class, uses as a composite data type. Okay, so why we know why class is known as composite data type? The class name becomes such a data type that uses different primitive types is known as composite data type. And from this part also one more question can come. Why class is known as user defined data type? Class is known as user defined data type because it is created by a user. That's why class is known as composite data type. Okay, now the next question from the next page, as you know, why class is known as object factory? As class produces different objects having similar features, or you can say when we create the class, a similar kinds of objects are created in the class. That's why it is known as object factory. So up to here you read all the topics, and you can write also in your copy in the short form, okay, or in the short question answers way. Then in the next lecture I will start the programming part and some more questions from the next part. Thank you.